Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the webinar of Colombia's education sector today, International Education Market Updates, Trends, and Developments. My name is Kate. I am the Manager of Market Support and Partnership Development here at the BC Council for International Education. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar, and I hope this will be a very informative session regarding the international education profile in Colombia. For your context, BCCIE has been organizing a series of activities with Colombia to support market support and partnership development and also capacity building. So today's webinar is also part of these initiatives, and more information will be available on our website. Before we move forward, I would like to acknowledge that at BCCIE, we live and work on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Now, in terms of housekeeping, we will have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So please type your questions into the chat box or use the Q&A function on Zoom. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or my colleague Morgan, who is also on this webinar. Now, I would like to introduce today's speaker, Ms. Magali Buffet, Education Trade Commissioner from the Embassy of Canada in Colombia. Welcome, Magali.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, BCCIE, for the invitation. And for all the participants, good morning. Bonjour à tous. Buenos días para todos. I know that already many of your institutions are active in Colombia, and some other institutions have not yet engaged in Colombia. So the objective of my presentation is to give you an overview and an update on what's been going on in Colombia and in the international education market. I will share information on trends, developments, some recommendations for recruitment and partnerships. And I will also share information on upcoming events. And we will have time for Q&A at the end of this presentation. So without further ado, I will start with the overview, Colombia's education sector at a glance. So in terms of recruitment and numbers, Colombia remains the third largest education market for Canada and Latin America, just after Brazil and Mexico. It's also ranked in the top 20 source countries of students to Canada and growing. Last year, according to Languages Canada, we had a record number of students studying English and French as a second language in Canada. That's quite an impressive number for Colombia. And also, we had a record year for study permits with over 10,000 study permits issued in 2022. It's twice more than before the pandemic. So those numbers here we can see are available. Not only for Colombia, but it's the IRCC open data portal, so you can find very useful information on numbers per year. So if you're interested in having access to those official numbers, you can follow the link here on this slide. Now, I'd like to share maybe a few trends and some specific opportunities about recruitment. Colombia is definitely an agent-driven market. As you might already know, we have some major agents leading the market. Some of these agents have been in the business for more than 20 years, and some of them have offices in different cities, not only the major cities like Bogota and Medellin, but also smaller cities, student cities within Colombia. So that's an important aspect of this market. If you are interested in engaging in Colombia, agents are important stakeholders here. So as you could see from my previous slide, we had historical numbers last year. However, last year we saw also that our main competitors are coming back massively in the market, and we are also seeing new players, smaller countries, smaller destinations that are now more visible than before the pandemic. So that's an important aspect. When you participate to student fairs, you'll see that there's a more diversified landscape of countries and destinations, study destinations. Another important trend as well over the past few years, even before the pandemic, it started already. Now we have quite an important and diversified presence of direct representatives here in Colombia. Usually they are based here in Colombia and they cover the LATAM region or maybe the South America region from Colombia. We have more than 25 institutions from different provinces in Canada that have direct representatives here in Colombia. So those institutions have a direct and permanent representation here in Colombia. So they are pretty active, participating in events, engaging with agents. So that's something to have in mind when you come to the market. Regarding marketing, and I guess it's the same for other Latin American countries, Colombians are highly social. They use WhatsApp and Instagram. So in your engagement strategy with agents or direct marketing strategies, it's important to use those two channels that are really the ones used by your potential students. As other countries in the region, Colombia has a difficult economic situation, high inflation right now, so price sensitivity is high. And if you can tie your promotion campaigns, marketing campaigns to somehow scholarships, benefits, tuition discounts that you can offer to students from this region, it's important in Colombia. If you engage and you say that you don't offer any scholarship or discount or any kind of benefit, students they just skip and check with another institution. So that's important. So to have that in mind. And regarding recruitment, again, there are opportunities for strategic and supportive partnerships with trusted education agents. What do I mean by strategic and supportive partnerships? Is that because agents are receiving a lot of, and they have a lot of agreements with Canadian institutions, and somehow they like to engage with trusted institutions as well, and they like having different types of activities with their clients. So that's the type of approach that now they are keen to explore, not just the usual agent workshops, meeting with parents. So if, for example, I've seen examples of institutions in Canada that engage with their agent and they open the possibility to participate in a masterclass, for example, taught by an expert from your institution. that could be a good approach here, and agents are eager to develop more activities like that. And regarding recruitment, again, here I wanted to mention, maybe for the institutions that have already been engaging for a long time in Colombia, that we have identified a few key recruitment partners. We are also here, the Trade Commissioner Service, to support you in this engagement and to reach out to those partners, potential partners for you. So here for recruitment, we have ANNEX. It's the Colombian Association of Study Abroad Agencies. They gather 25 of the major education agents in Colombia. They also have a presence in many different cities of Colombia, so that's a good partner for recruitment, and specifically with agents. Also, we have been approached maybe more actively over the past couple of years, I would say, by alumni associations from many Colombian post-secondary institutions. So, for example, leading universities, or maybe smaller colleges from different cities of Colombia. They have alumni. Some of them are interested. Those associations are interested in having specific agreements to promote some of the programs that your institutions can offer to Colombian professionals, sometimes young professionals, or more mature students sometimes. So they usually turn to their universities for that type of partnerships. So that's a new avenue for agreements and for promotion of programs, more on the postgraduate or graduate degrees programs. We also have Cajas de Compensación. It's a specific organization in Colombia for workers. They offer a lot of benefits in terms of sometimes housing, education, health. So now the education branch of these organizations, so they are local organizations in each region of Colombia, and for the education component, they also have specific agreements. Sometimes they have agreements for tuition discounts with some of your institutions, and it's a great channel for promotion of your programs, and they are interested in having more of those agreements for their beneficiaries. So here I have one. It's Confama in Antioquia, in Medellin, but other Cajas de Compensación all over Colombia are interested to do the same. And finally, we have other education stakeholders. They are networks of institutions. APICE is one. Renata, it's a network for providing IT support to institutions in Colombia, post-secondary education institutions, but they also have a portfolio of services, and they promote different types of agreements as well. So if you're interested in expanding the type of agreements you have in Colombia for recruitment, you can turn to these specific partners, and if you need more information, you can contact me and I can help you connect with the right people. So now I'll go to partnerships, and I'll talk a little bit about trends regarding partnerships. So as you could see, student recruitment remains a key driver of the approach to the market. Many institutions in BC are already very actively engaged, and specifically in recruitment, and they are seeing that now local partners are interested in developing other types of activities, like partnership building, double degree programs, etc. Before going through some specific opportunities, I wanted to remind maybe just introduce you to some of the existing partnerships between BC and maybe more general partnerships and agreements that are in place between Colombia and BC and Canada. So in Colombia, we have a BC offshore school located in Medellin. It's been accredited for many years now. So that's one potential partner for some of you, for some of your institutions. Also, just before the pandemic, also there was an MOU signed between MyTax and the Ministry of Science here in Colombia, and the Colombian students are applying to Global Link Research internships opportunities in Canada, and I know that many BC universities are participating in this program. It's been a great agreement. A lot of students have applied. For example, last year we had a cohort of 126 students going from Colombia to MyTax affiliated universities. So that's a great record also for Colombia, meaning that those students, the undergrad students going to Canada for a research internship are really good students, and the program now is well known, and many universities are competing for these internships. So Kate mentioned at the beginning that there are a series of activities for Colombia. So last year we had the pleasure to see that UMAP signed an MOU with some counterparts here in Colombia. We'll have a dedicated session on Thursday about this partnership. So now Colombia and many institutions, higher education institutions in Colombia are part of this program as well. And finally, a few years ago, there was an MOU also signed between BC Ministry of Education and its counterpart here in Colombia, the Ministry of National Education of Colombia, for international education mobility programs at K-12 level as well. So with that in mind, now I would like to go through to a few opportunities, some specific opportunities that are available here in Colombia. The Colombian universities have been actively putting up portfolios of COIL programs. Some of them also have programs offered and taught in English as well. So that's a big ask when I visit universities here. They are interested in partnering with Canadian counterparts, and many of them already have specific courses that are open to COIL collaborations. So that's one aspect. Then I'm also getting a lot of questions about short-term possibilities. For example, here in Colombia, they are aware of the Global Skills Opportunity Program. They are also keen to promote their own summer schools and receive some of your students to their programs, and the other way around as well. And now the major universities in Colombia, they all have risk management policies in place to welcome international students. Sometimes they also have Spanish as a foreign language for some students, and they already have existing programs or field trips organized. So that could be a way also for some of your institutions to partner with Colombian universities. On the research side, I'm also getting a lot of interest from many universities about research collaboration. The current Ministry of Science, the current administration is interested in developing a pilot project on scientific diplomacy. So they have identified key areas of collaboration, and there's a working group for collaboration between Colombia and Canada. So if you're interested about this program, I can give you more information later on. Universities and local schools are also interested in developing a Canadian curriculum. Some schools might, international schools might be interested, and some universities more on the double degrees programs of 2+2 in some areas of study. That's something also I'm getting a lot of interest about those curriculum options. Student exchange agreements are another opportunity. Universities in Colombia are well aware of the Emerging Leaders in the Americas program, and they are eager to sign more agreements, student exchange agreements, to send some of their students to your institutions through the ELAB scholarship. So that's another potential area of collaboration with local universities. And finally, I would like to make a few recommendations about partnership building in Colombia. Colombia is a Latin American country. Trust building takes time. Sometimes it takes more time in Colombia than in other neighboring countries. And people here are used to having many meetings, sometimes not very productive, it depends. And they are also really eager to have people coming to their institutions. So it takes a lot of meetings and visits, physical presence as well. So if you are serious about engaging in Colombia in partnerships, it might take investment in time, money as well, to come down to the market. And sometimes you don't have like quick results. In Colombia, it takes time. So you need to be patient. But in the end, when you manage to build trust and identify really key local partners, you can have good results, but it's gonna take time. So moving on a bit, I wanted to also share what we are doing jointly in Colombia with IRCC. We work together on some specific activities. So we have joint EduCanada and IRCC monthly virtual info sessions. It's a virtual session open to the wider public. It's virtual. Colombian students, parents, or professionals, they can register and participate to this type of info session, and it's a general information about studying in Canada, but also they get very detailed information about how to apply to a study permit. We also have regular agent workshops. So EduCanada and IRCC, we host them. We address questions that agents can have. And also I wanted to mention that recently Colombia is eligible for student direct stream as well. We will have very soon an info session. So it's delivered in Spanish. It's for the local audience. So usually the agents or the universities, they promote our info sessions to their to the students. If you're interested in hearing and seeing what we do during these sessions, here is the link. The next session is tomorrow in the afternoon. And at the end of the session, we have So it's monthly sessions. We have Q&As, live Q&As as well. So students can answer questions and they get direct responses during the session. And we feel that it's been a good initiative to educate the public and to apply in time with all the documentation to study permits. So when you have cohorts of students that are ready to apply, they have their letter of admission, you can promote the participation to these info sessions. It's useful for them, and I guess it's also useful for you when students can apply in time and when they are aware of all the documents that they have to submit. Usually it takes less time. Now I would like to share a few of the upcoming events that we are either organizing or supporting, or sometimes we organize side events around the main events, recruitment events. So we have this week, we have a major recruitment event happening. So many BC institutions are participating and coming to Colombia, to Bogota, specifically at Medellin. On Friday, we'll have a B2B networking session. We'll also have an update from IRCC. We will have our ambassador opening the event. So if you're not registered yet, if you're participating to BNTR Canada, so I would encourage you to book your meetings, and we can meet in person during this event. I will also be participating to the KIE in Las Vegas in a few weeks. We have meeting times available. So if you're interested in meeting with me, I have an open agenda on the platform. So you're also very welcome to engage with me during the KIE. And here I have a few dates for the spring 2024. So we have 3 major recruitment events. For now, it's just in Bogota. So between February and March, we have 3 main education recruitment fairs. BNTR Canada in February, Expo Postgrados, more on the graduate side, organized by BMI, and the Student World organized by FPP. So those are the main upcoming events. As I mentioned, we might be organizing side events around the main recruitment fairs, or if you're interested in meeting with me around those fairs or around in-person events in the market, you can reach out to me and I can help you organize specific meetings. And I would like to end my presentation thanking you for your attention, participation. Here are my contact information, and I also encourage you to follow us on our social media here in Colombia. We are celebrating this year 70 years of bilateral diplomatic relationship with Colombia. So we've been quite active on social media, promoting all the events. We also promote our education events through these channels. So you're very welcome as well to follow us. And with that, I would open the floor for questions, and maybe Kate, you have, or Morgan, some specific recommendations for this Q&A. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we have a couple questions that have come in so far. So can you share about the sectoral priorities for Colombian universities when it comes to research collaboration with Canada?
Yeah, so usually here, well, Colombia, there was a peace agreement signed in 2016. So the universities have a peace agenda, so peace building agenda, meaning that they have different types of priorities in rural development, sometimes, while they also focus on what's it called, climate and energy transition as well. It's part of the peace priorities. They are always interested in collaboration around specific areas, or in the Amazon as well. And then it depends on where the university is located in Colombia. So if you're interested in knowing more about those priorities, you can reach out to me and I can help you identify those priorities in research.
Thank you. And there's another question on this research collaboration. So would you be able to elaborate more on the scientific diplomacy project? What are the specific opportunities that may be coming down the pipeline from this initiative?
Yeah, so my understanding of this program is that it is, for now, it's a pilot program. So they have identified research capacities at a large scale, national scale, and they have 5 thematic areas that they'd like to focus, and they have participating universities. And they are looking at partners for those priorities. And they have a focal point for, it's an organization here that has been hired to help connect with Canadian institutions. So the universities or participants that are interested in this initiative, I can also maybe have a separate meeting and share with you the portfolio, the contact information, so that you can understand which area could be of interest for your research community. And some of the institutions here are already working on existing partnerships, or sometimes they are interested in developing new partnerships. So that would be the pilot is to maybe strengthen already existing partnerships and to open the way for new ones in 5 key thematic priorities.
Thank you. Next question we have is, are you aware of any funding available from Colombia for research mobility, either student or faculty, other than the MyTax Global Link and ELAP?
So at national level, I'm not aware of any new program. What I'm aware is that some specific institutions, universities, they have their own funding programs. So it's always limited. It's small scale. Usually, it's for research collaborations, and sometimes when the universities have like a specific funding, they are also they can also apply to ICETEX. ICETEX, it's the Colombian Student Loans Agency, and they also have an international branch, and they manage international programs for mobility of students. And ICETEX now is launching a periodic call for applications for student and faculty mobility, sometimes professional training as well. But it's when you already have existing partnerships and activities going on. So same thing, I can maybe share more information about that with institutions that are interested in knowing more about that.
Thank you. And then our next question is, do expos still make an impact in Colombia? If so, which one is the most recommended?
Yeah, so about student recruitment events, I would say all the main ones are getting back to their usual activities in the market. People here really favor the face-to-face meeting. The possibility to meet with a representative, a direct representative of the university is still important in Colombia. Maybe for the what I would say is that maybe for institutions that have already been very actively participating to those big events, it might not be necessary to continue participating to those recruitment events. You already have your other channels to recruit students. I would encourage maybe exploring other types of events to build your channels of student recruitments. But for the institutions that have not been very engaged in Colombia, then when you participate to a fair, you might not have like direct return on investment, but it's more of a brand positioning in the market. People need to know your institution. So when you participate to a big student recruitment event, it's a good way for people to get to know your institution. So yeah, my answer would be, if you've already been participating actively in those events, might not be the best investment. And if you're not very familiar with the market, then yeah, it's still a good way for your institution to start recruiting in the market and positioning your institution.
Thank you. And we have a follow-up question now about the scientific diplomacy pilot project. And they're asking if you can share the 5 thematic areas.
So right now I don't have them here. I'm not sure I'm allowed to publish them publicly yet, because it's a pilot project. So I would have to consult the organizer, the organization that has been chosen for this pilot, and I would invite the interested institutions to send me a message, and then once I have the authorization, I can send the portfolio. Yeah, so sorry about not being more specific, but yeah, I need to check first.
Thank you. And then there was a message in the chat earlier about whether or not you have the link for tomorrow's monthly EduCanada IRCC session that we could share.
Yeah, I can share it in the Q&A or chat section.
Yes.
I'll stop sharing right now and I can share that. So it's here. I guess I shared it with you, so you can share it with.
Thank you. And it looks like we have another question that just came in, whether we'll be sharing the PowerPoint, and yes, we will send this out with the recording following. And then we also have a few questions that came in before the webinar that we can go through. We have some time. So one of them is, do you have any insights regarding Colombian students interested in attending high school in Canada?
So regarding students, high school students interested in high schools in Canada or boarding schools in Canada?
Students interested in attending high school in Canada.
High school. So there's a big appetite, but for short term. So here, most of the major education agents, they have agreements with international schools, and they send groups of students on a short term for a month, 2 months to Canada. So that's already, well, that's what students are interested. And for students here in Colombia, the secondary education system is up to grade 11. So some students are interested in doing the grade 12 in Canada and then transitioning directly to university. Some students already meet the requirements to be admitted directly to some of the programs, but yeah, sometimes they prefer doing an extra year of high school, and so that would be a limited number of students, but I see that it's a growing trend because parents now are interested in having their kids studying in Canada. I recently participated to a high school counselors workshop, and they were all asking about that type of transition programs, pathway programs to universities. So yeah, there's an appetite. So for the grade 12, it's longer term, it's a full year or maybe a semester for some of them. And for like groups of students, it would be exchange on a short-term basis. That wouldn't compete with the local school, recruiting the students from the local school.
Thank you. And another question just came in asking if you could please remind us of the vacation dates for universities. Is it January and July?
Yeah, so here in Colombia, they manage a different academic calendar. So the academic year starts in February, ends in November. So they have a big break in November, December, and January. That's here we don't have seasons, so that's almost summer for them at that time of the year. And then in the mid-year, in June, end of June, beginning of July, they have also a break. So that's not the same. Usually August is not a month off for universities, but it's more July. So research collaboration usually happen in July, June, July. Field trips, faculty-led programs around those dates as well.
Thank you. And then there's another question regarding the summer schools. Do you have any of the agents contacts that people can from Colombia, I think?
So for summer schools, for summer camps in Canada, I understand. Yeah, so or it's the reverse.
It just says
Maybe
for
if-
summer school, any contact from agent that we can contact.
So
from
agents here, they manage summer camps for teenagers.
It's
Summer school, summer camps in Canada. So agents, yeah, definitely we have a network of agents that are interested in promoting summer camps and winter camps as well in Canada. And I can connect the person interested in with those agents.
Thank you. On the summer camp topic, we had another question previously received that said asking the market size for summer camps age 9 to 17.
So as I mentioned, it's I would say depending, there's, for example, one big agency, they send around 300 students every year to some school districts in Canada. So some of the agents, they have a big portion of the market, but it's short term. And yeah, you have to have an existing partnership with the agent. So yeah, I don't know it's not easy for us to track the numbers because it's the short-term students not applying for study permits. So we don't really have a sense of how many students, but we know that some agencies, yeah, they send 300, 400 students every year. So that's quite a big number, I would say.
You. And then going back to the school schedule, someone is wondering if it's the same for high schools as it is for universities.
So high schools, they manage two different types of calendar. So the local schools, public schools, like mainstream schools, it's the same calendar as the university. So it's usually February to November. And the international schools, bilingual schools, they have the same academic calendar as in Canada. Usually it's mid-August, September, until June. So yeah, it depends on the type of school. If it's an international school or not.
Thank you. Lots of questions today. And then next one is, what is your experience with what Colombians do after the completion of the program? Do they stay? Do they go back?
So yeah, I don't have the exact numbers, but I've seen a shift. Before the pandemic, they would go and study in Canada and come back. Now they are more interested in studying in Canada and then stay and maybe potentially become permanent residents in Canada. So now I would say it's half-half. Some students are still interested in getting education in Canada and coming back, but the growing trend is that they are interested in settling in Canada. And they are all interested in having this work experience after graduating. So yeah, that's a major shift as well, I would say.
Thank you. And then next we have, what is the current study permit approval rate?
So I don't have the latest numbers, but I understand that it's pretty, we are back to the pre-pandemic approval rates. I understand it's not, it's average for all types of programs. So it's 80%, the last number I heard. I don't have the detail about college, university, high school. I don't have that type of information, but I know that usually colleges and institutes Canada, when they publish information on specific markets, they publish that type of information. So if some of you can have access to those numbers or are interested in those numbers, you can check the information within Canada.
Thank you. We could probably take a few more questions. So I'll go back to the ones we received before. So someone was looking to learn more about, for rural public colleges, which areas or cities should they focus on as a starting point?
Yeah, so outside the major cities, Bogota, Medellin, Cali, now we have institutions engaging in the coffee region area. So that's 3 different cities, Pereira, Armenia, and Manizales. That interesting cities to engage with a lot of universities, local universities, good universities as well. We also have on the Caribbean coast, Barranquilla is another, it's not rural, it's a city, but outside of Barranquilla as well. And on the eastern part of Colombia, around Bucaramanga as well. That would be another interesting city to be engaging with local universities or local agents.
Thank you. And then we have another question wondering about whether the Colombian market will continue to grow.
So I mentioned it in at the beginning, but the growth has been exponential over the past few years. So it's my sense. And since we have a lot of competitors also coming back, I would say that the growth will maybe not keep on growing that quickly in the next few years. I see a lot of appetite from many different stakeholders to do more things with Canada. So somehow I see that there's a momentum, but I'm not sure the momentum will be the same in the next few years, at least. Well, it also depends on your institutions, how they engage in Colombia and how active you are in the market. But yeah, for recruitment, I would say it's going to slow down a bit. And I also hear from some of the institutions that they don't have more seats for Colombian students. So at some point, it's going to it's going to continue to grow, but maybe less rapidly. And there's a lot of room for partnerships, activities outside of recruitment. Institutions are eager to do more things, more bilateral activities that imply collaboration.
Thank you. And thank you for answering all our questions. And we're getting near the end, so I'll hand it back over to Kate to close off the webinar.
Thank you so much, Morgan. Thank you, Magali, for sharing all your insights and advice. And thank you to everyone. This has been a really engaging webinar that we had. So yeah, like this is the end of the presentation that we prepared. So we will send out a thank you follow-up email with Magali's slide deck so that you have all the information that you want to review at a later time. As mentioned before, we have some events planned with Colombia. Last week, we had a capacity building event, which you can review, watch the recording of the webinar on our website. And also we have another event planned, as Magali mentioned, this Thursday. This is an event dedicated to UMAP member institutions. So if you are interested or if you want to know more about this, please reach out to myself and we'll be happy to answer the questions regarding to that. With this, again, thank you everyone for joining us today. Before you log out on Zoom, there will be a survey pops up. So we hope that you can answer the questions and let us know your feedback and how you thought today's webinar went. So that will be appreciated. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day, and we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Thank you. Thank you, Magali. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.